Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer. He's on the East Coast. And we're kicking off the week here with a pretty nice slate in the NBA on Monday. We've got best bets in this episode. In the other one, we've got play of props. And we're bringing both of those to you each and every weekday moving forward throughout the rest of this season. So make sure to subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Also appreciate the like on the video if you're getting anything out of what we're bringing you guys here. Nate, let's go ahead and jump right into your first best bet here for Monday after a pretty good Friday for the kids last week, I'll say.
Yeah, identified some wrong team favored on Friday, and I think the public is with me on this one as well. Rockets +3 or the money line at Milwaukee. This got up to 4.5 this morning, and then it's now dropping down closer to a pick'em. I mean, the back-to-back is not enough to scare me off the Rockets being a much better team than the Bucks at this point. I mean, they might get Dame Lillard back, which plus on offense, definite minus on defense. I just think the Rockets have enough to limit Giannis a little bit, which they did in their first two against him with Ime at the controls, right? And then he goes for 48 in the last meeting, and they still lost. So, I mean, you're kind of depending on like a heroic three-point shooting performance from Dame in his first game back from concussion to keep pace with this Rockets team that's playing well on both ends. Huge rebounding edge for the Rockets in terms of rebound percentage. They are the number one team in net rating during an 11-2 span right now. 5 straight wins, right? The losses in there are only to the Warriors and the Thunder, teams that are playing very well. The Bucks, as we know, not playing well on either end. Matchup advantage, I think, Alperen Şengün against old man Brook Lopez. Like, no way he can really handle him with his combination of speed and skill. That'll lead to some open shots for the Rockets. But maybe it's more about the defense for Houston. Like I said, limiting really the only two weapons for the Bucks. Like there's just nothing really to hang their hat on other than those two guys. They haven't shown any chemistry together. Everyone knows the deal at this point. But the thing is, with Dame back in there, their defensive rating 10 points worse per 100 possessions. Right? They're only up 2.5 points per game, so that math is not going to work out. And it's mostly from an increased volume of threes. Their free throws actually dropped considerably, and that plays right into how the Rockets want to defend. Right? Is like. They struggle to keep you off the free throw line a little bit with rim protection, but they do limit the threes. They're also a young team that has gone 9-6 ATS on back-to-backs the last 2 years. Also 67% with a rest disadvantage under Ime. So I like the value we're getting here on what I think is just the better team, regardless of the spot.
They are the better team. I mean, just straight up with Dame, without Dame, this is a better basketball team. It's a deeper basketball team. It has a defensive identity. It has an identity outside of just one guy shoot all the shots. In fact, when they try to create the identity of Jalen Green as the shot chucker for this team, Jalen Green finds himself on the bench. He's not bigger than this team. There's nobody bigger than this team. I mean, Ime Udoka came from a place where there were actual superstars in Boston, and there was still nobody bigger than the team when Ime is the coach. So I love how he's really wrangled in Jalen Green. Just a cavalcade of weapons when it comes to on the wing, when it comes to Tari Eason backing up Jabari Smith, backing up Amin Thompson. I mean, there's just athleticism all over the floor. And I'm actually just going to stick in this game. I like the over still. It's been bet up, but I can still get 223.5, Nate, and I'm going to take over on that because I love this Houston offense more than I did last year, that's for sure. And I like the way that they're able to just interchange and really be, I mean, really as versatile of an offense as you can imagine, because they have a guy like Şengün. They have so many options on the wing that can do multiple things. So I love the way that they're playing with pace this season because that's what they have is they have athleticism and youth over most teams that they go up against. So stop trying to play this half court offense as much. You know, I mean, it's fine when FVV and Jalen Green and Şengün are sort of running that 3-man game and in the 3 spots on the floor up top on the wing and down low on the block. It's a nice offense, but like get your wings involved, get your athletes in there and start throwing stuff up at the rim. And that's what they've been doing. And they've been going to the rim a ton. They've been relying on offensive rebounding a ton. This team, now that they have most of their weapons back, you might be able to see them get a bit better at defensive rebounding in terms of the Bucks, but in their last 5 and really on the season as a whole, their offensive rebounding is bad. They're in the last 5 specifically, they're 6th worst on the season. They do still remain in the top 10 in defensive rebounding percentage, but that is not going to remain very long the way that they have been for the last 5-6 games. And Houston is attacking the crap out of those offensive rebounds, which I think is going to be huge. They're going to the rim a good amount, but also those threes and the mid-range game should be really available for them against a Bucks team that's the 3rd worst in limiting those threes. And they are just giving giving it up from whether it's the corner, above the break, wherever you want to shoot a three from. There's no real strength to this defense on the perimeter right now. You get Dame back, and how do you expect? I mean, Dame's got to be worth like 5 to 6 points to the total by himself when he comes in and is able to make the threes that he's able to make, combined with his inability to guard up top. And I will say the wings for the shooters for the Rockets are going to be open today because the Bucks have gotten a little bit better at defending the ball handler in the pick and roll. I mean, they're putting Gary Trent on him. Sometimes they're throwing Andre Jackson Jr. when he's out there. So there's a little bit more athleticism, and at least their best defender is going on the main ball handler. But the spot up is now very available for everybody against Milwaukee, as they're giving up like the third most points per game off of that play. Catch and shoot stuff is available for everybody. So I think the Rockets are going to win. I think they're going to score a lot of points, and I think the Bucks will get theirs as well by firing threes and trying to maintain the pace that I think the Rockets are going to keep.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess you could tail with Rockets plus the over here, at least part of the unit. If you feel like that's the scenario we're going to see here. Yeah, let's go out west for a little SGP, Atlanta at Sacramento. De'Aaron Fox, the only star standing for the Kings. And rather than taking his points, which he's been going off the last couple, I'll just say 8 assists and 2 threes, which is plus 150. The reasoning being Dyson Daniels is going to be draped on him at this point. I think doing a pretty good job denying penetration, even though he did go for 60 against a Wolves team that's supposed to be good denying penetration as well. But the Hawks are just so bad around Daniels, so bad limiting spot-up shooters, limiting assists, limiting threes, that and with the Kings missing DeRozan and Domas, it's going to be a lot of Fox get in there, kick it out to three-point shooters, right? So you could pair this with Huerter too. And with the Hawks on a back-to-back, you can add the Kings money line and go up to over 2-1, plus 227 is what I found here. The assists should be good, right? Because Domas and Fox were tied for the team in potential assists per game, basically neck and neck in terms of playmaking, passes made. And now with Domas out, we haven't even seen that because he played all 82 last year, right? So we're going to see what kind of expanded workload. Surprised that the Kings haven't yet, ramped up the pace without DeMar DeRozan because they're less of a half-court team here. That's why we're seeing the total rise a little bit. But if they are going to ramp it up now with Atlanta in town, with Atlanta with Trae Young back, they're going to be going up and down. They're on a back-to-back. They give up 123 on back-to-backs. We know their defense not very good in general, but they're going to play faster and worse defensively. They give up tons of threes, as I said, 40% on the road are they allowing from three, along with 28 assists per game. Fox has hoisted more threes because of DeRozan being out. And now we could expect even more without Domas. He's also getting in the lane, league high 28.5 drives these last three without DeRozan. That'll help him kick out for threes and take some himself, right? If you don't want to get in the lane, if you're worried about Dyson Daniels, NBA's steals leader by a mile, we can expect him maybe to take more step back threes and stay out on the perimeter a little bit. He did go 8 for 16 from deep his last time out against Atlanta. So he's definitely capable of lighting it up from deep, shooting 63% in these last few. And all we need is 2 threes here. We don't need a huge outlier game. We just need him to maintain that huge usage that he's shown lately and get a couple threes down.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah, I mean, we just saw Scoot Henderson get 10 assists against Atlanta. Dyson Daniels is not helping the overall offense. I'm sure he's helping it. I can't imagine it being that much worse. So I don't know how much he's helping it. You know what I mean? But I can see his individual abilities. I just don't know if it matters. I mean, like I said, Scoot, 10 dimes, Shaden Sharp, 1 million points. So anybody that Dyson Daniels ain't guarding, going to be open. Anybody that he is guarding, going to find an open man. So I love the dimes here so much for D Fox. I think there's some ladder possibilities there to get him the double and some 10 plus assists in this one. The points are at 32.5 because he's been scoring 55 points per game for the last 2 games. So it's a little bit difficult to feel comfortable with 33 points. But let me close it out with an SGP of my own here, Nate, and talk about Cade against another bad defense. Chicago is awful. Cade, 20 points, 6 boards, 8 dimes. So that's what we're going with him for plus 144 on FanDuel. It hasn't opened up for me to be able to get any kind of alt stuff for Cade on DraftKings. So FanDuel had a better number, but DraftKings has better core line numbers. So when that does open up and you can get the SGP for Cade on DK, I would make sure to check it out and shop those parlays. Chicago defense, 29th in points per game allowed, 28th in rebounds per game allowed, 30th in assists per game allowed. If you're going to give up everything and have no specific part of the floor that you defend well, then you're going to just be this bad of a defense all season long. It's really sad, but he's gotten 6+ boards in 12 of 15. In short, he's done this 10 of 15 times on the season that he's gotten this exact parlay for plus 144. I like the rebounds a little bit less than the assists, just because also this Chicago team has become known for how much it gives up assists, last in the league, last to point guards. You can get what, the defense does not shift well. They don't have good individual matchups with their defenders. So there's a lot of open shooters. Thus the assists are totally fine at 8.5 or 8 for me, and even 8.5 if you want to go over the core line. And then the 20+ points he's done in 12 of 15. Only time he didn't do it was when they were completely blowing out the other team. Both these teams playing on the B2B here. So like, I don't think there's too much of an advantage either way, but I think the pace stays high, and Detroit's tried to play slowly at times. It's been clear, but I don't know how you stay slow against Chicago. I mean, we saw Houston put up 143 on them last night, scoring like 16 or 17% of their points from transition. So whatever that is, 143 times, 0.16 or whatever, a lot of points. And Chicago's pace is just blistering, man. It's 106, essentially 105.8 possessions in their pace here. And when Cade has played these faster teams, Detroit has got sped up. And if you look at the teams that are in the top half of the league in pace that he's played this season, he's gone over in 6 of 7 and done this in 6 of 7, gotten his PRA as well in 6 of 7 against these teams, adding up all the points, rebounds, and assists. And that includes Cleveland, good defense. Houston, still going to call them a good defense. And Toronto, not a good defense, but good at limiting assists. And he still got there with them. And then LAL, Atlanta, and Toronto and Washington, not good defenses. So yeah, I mean, this is also not a good defense. I don't know how else to say that. Like, this is just going to be a bottom 5 defense all season. There's not really any help coming. Vooch finally went under his points last night. Either way, Cade Cunningham, I love this. All the props for him in this one.
Yeah, I was looking for a way to attack this as well. Really hope that they do stick with Josh Giddey a little more if you're going to take Cade props. Because Giddey already getting benched, 18 minutes per game his last 2. Didn't start the second half, I believe, on Friday. If they do throw out Ayo, Dosunmu, more on Cade, that could hurt a little bit. But Cade's been getting this in tough matchups. Like, he's been putting it up. And I mean, if you say there's no advantage for anyone on a back-to-back, I would lean on him. Like, he's a guy who doesn't seem to dip on back-to-backs at all. Like, even when the Pistons are listing everybody else on the injury report, he's good to go. He's trying to be kind of that steadying force for them right now, after missing a lot of the last couple seasons with various injuries. And yeah, like we've said, he's like really bringing it with the peripheral stats. Like, his shooting, his turnovers are really inefficient, but I like the rebounds and assists, especially against a Bulls backcourt that gives that stuff up.
Yeah, he's a volume guy, man. Big, durable guy, finally healthy, like you said. So he's just going to be looking to play as many minutes as he can for basically the rest of his career. I think he's pretty tired of sitting out. So that's all the time we have for you in this one. Continue to follow along and subscribe to that page so you don't miss anything else. Got the Play of Props episode up for you guys, as we do each and every weekday. And until we see you next, happy betting.